Season 1, Episode 1, Have You Found Your Crown? The beginning. I was definitely trying to orchestrate this show a little better, produce it and all of that. But I figured, why not go ahead and just start? You know what I mean? And I think the whole purpose of me starting this mini series or whatever you want to call it, is really just I want people to follow the process with me in regard to not just with Gali and what I'm doing, on all my other projects and things like that, but just the whole meaning behind "Have You Found Your Crown?" It's something that's really near and dear to me. Something that I'm starting and revamping the brand with, but it's going to be much bigger than just clothing and just branding. I think a lot of people go their whole life without finding their crown, and within finding your crown, there's three things you come across, uh, which is identity, which is confidence, and your purpose. And I think in looking for your crown and evolving as a person, these are like three things you come across for sure. So, like, definitely within this series, we're going to continue to jump more into these things specifically. This episode specifically, we're going to get into those three topics of what I was saying in regards to identity, purpose, confidence. I feel without identity, purpose, and confidence, I mean, who that's what is a major components of your mock up as the person that you are. And so that's something that I really want to intertwine within the brand and within the releases and within how I'm reintroducing the brand. Because I feel like I said, people uh, they they lose that sense of purpose, they lose that sense of identity, and they lose the sense of confidence. And without those three things, it's really kind of hard to engage and gauge where you coming and going. So definitely I want to continue to grow, continue to get better. Uh, and I want to use this series as a way to kind of get into that. So yeah, we're going to jump into all of those things for sure. That topic, I think, getting into first of all, for sure, uh, you know, purpose. And I think that's like one of the main things that's really kind of hard at times to uh, find a continuation of consistency in, is like your purpose. And it's like, being from the South Side and like DC, right? It's especially even when I travel around, I've been real fortunate and blessed to travel. It's like that's one of the these those three components of what I'm speaking of is like one of the main things, especially wrong with like community and things like that. And when I started the brand initially, I definitely didn't think that I would want to fulfill those type of purposes within the brand. But maybe I did always think of that, because now that I think about it, even the name Gali, what I'm saying, has a sense of a positive light and component to it that I definitely wanted to share. And I always wanted like each piece to have like its own um, mechanism, excuse me, of positivity and things like that. So I feel like, you know, having purpose is is essential to who you are as a person, and like where you're going, and fulfilling what you need to in life. Like, that's the whole point of finding your purpose. And I know it's hard because if in this world that we in, if you don't really find your purpose or really gain a purpose, this world will try to give you one itself, and it may not uh, suit you. And I think that a lot of people run into that too, where they kind of let the world dictate and moderate, who and what they are, and kind of mold them into like a person. And yeah, I think that's like a big problem for sure. And so when we look at like, finding your crown, that's like one of the main things is first knowing, do you have your purpose? And once you discover your purpose, is pursuing that. Ups or downs no matter how hard it is, like you got to fulfill your purpose. And so then we move on to like the next thing of like confidence, right? And I think confidence is one of, oh man, it's like personally speaking for sure, is like it's something that I still battle with. Truthfully, I don't think a lot of people will even like be honest with that, and admit that they struggle within confidence. You still kind of at times have people dictate your mood, your feelings, how you are, and that's life. But confidence is for sure something that you have to like fulfill and gain and and re-rev your engine all the time. And a lot of these branches intertwine with each other purposely, and kind of going back to purpose, right? But your confidence is the fuel. You know what I mean? It's that thing that will, sometimes you have to go into that bag, because you're not going to always have people understand or back you or get what you're doing. And sometimes, like if things are placed on you, you got to have the confidence to do it and know that, hey, whether if people see it now or whether if they ever don't, it's like, as long as I got it done, as long as it's something that I feel is cool or I deem this, something that I want to do, then I think that's something that you got to continue to do for sure. So when we talk about finding your purpose, you definitely want to have your confidence. So within Golly, that's one of the main things I love about designing and having dope ideas within the brand, because I feel like, you know, my purpose is, well, part of my purpose, I would say, is fashion and style and designing and being a creative person. And the fact of like, I'm taking things from here and putting them into actual existence, that right there is a sign of confidence, that I confidently feel that what I put out will be received, you know, and even if it's perceived a certain way too, instead of received, it's like I still have the confidence to continue no matter what. And part of being confident too is also learning to take criticism. Also learning to know that not everybody's, like I said, is going to see your vision or even understand what you're doing. And it's like, okay, are you going to let that stop you? So you got to continue to push through. And I feel like once you do find your purpose, you will have the confidence and need the confidence to push through. You get, so it's all starting to tie in once you kind of see, the the broad explanation of things for sure. And last but not least, we get into identity. I feel like identity, uh, it's funny. It's like I don't even get into the race stuff a lot, but you can't help but say, like, as a black person, identity is something that for sure I feel like is struggled with. But I don't want to say just as a black person, but I can only speak as a black person, right? But as a human, I think identity is um, something that we all have a. Um, I don't want to put like crisis on it, but I think because sometimes the truth of, our, you got to know where you've been to know where you're going. And a lot of times, I feel for a lot of people, the part of knowing where you've been, that gets, that line gets blurred, right? And so it's like one of those things where you also, a lot of times you learn that you got to relearn a lot of things, and that in itself is so difficult and hard to kind of accept and realize. And I think that Gali has really helped, shape and mold my identity in regards to, we all have to have a sense of um, consistency, and we got to be disciplined, right? Consistency and discipline. I think those two things neutralize who you are within as a person, and your identity as a person, because you know this world is full of characters, full of emotions and feelings, and full all points of views, and you got to be careful to mold your mindset and your energy into certain things. And I feel that once you obtain your identity and know your identity, which is through your purpose, your fulfillment, and your confidence. You're not easily persuaded, or you're not easily shifted to think or be a certain way because of the rest of the world may seem like it's like that. And it's funny how all of this, talking about fashion or talking about branding, it kind of tied into real life. And I think that's one of the dope and beautiful things about the brand and Gali is because I feel like I definitely have been able to balance that thin line of reality and of like fashion and of this world of design and being a creative. It goes hand in hand. And like I said, having that purpose, confidence, and identity, which I hope by now is has been written down. Um, you got to know that those things bring meaning and fulfillment. And it's like your crown is your purpose, and you got to protect that crown. You know what I mean? By any means necessary. And you got to know that not everybody's always going to understand. You might even be judged at times, but it doesn't matter because the main thing is realizing that once you've done the work to find your crown, you got to do the work to protect it, and you got to do the work to continue to push through and continue to make it something special and unique, because it's yours, you know. The importance of the confidence is the importance of the glow and the importance of you wearing your crown. You know, it's like everyone has a purpose and everyone has identity and everyone has a reason that they're here. Like everything flows. So it's all about like that's your work and your job. And I think a lot of times people may put that onto other people and other things to figure that out for themselves. But it's like that's not what it is. Like you got to know these things yourself for sure. You know, and you finding your crown in life is just the beginning, and I think that it's a lifelong mission to continue to polish and continue to maintain and obtain. Like I said, your purpose, identity within your crown, and that goes for anybody. It's not just for clothes, and it's just not for branding and fashion. You could be doing anything um, in life. So you got to remember that those three components. And like I said, within this series, it's just gonna be like short little talks like this, just to kind of refresh, regain, hope that people could come through and pick up gems, or like I said, just have this plan in the background, uh, just for purpose. We will get more into like uh, the specifics of things within design and fashion and stuff like that on certain episodes. I definitely plan on having people come through, possibly talking to. Um, but if only if it makes sense. For the most part, this will just kind of just be me, just talking and playing my game on the iPad, just kind of chilling with the people. So I definitely, like I said, this is something new. So grow with me. Um, I'm using this as an example of me finding my crown, me continuing to obtain my purpose and continue to grow, not only within my brand, um, but as a person. And so, why not document that and put it out there and yeah, and see what type of following I could get with that. And yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna start or end these. So, like I said, each episode in the beginning may be a little different, but I definitely appreciate you for watching if you got up to this point. And for sure, yeah, I will catch y'all on episode 2, season 1. Have you found your crown?